News breaks even at SEC Media Days. Typically, there's not a lot of news. It's a commitment for the Vols. Mike Matthews, five-star receiver. Caleb Calhoun, as we actually are in Nashville at SEC Media Days. Why is this such a big get for the Vols?
This is huge. This isn't Josh Heupel's been getting fringe four-star receivers for the past 2 years because of recruiting issues holding Tennessee back, questions about the program. This isn't one of those players. Mike Matthews could have gone anywhere he wanted to go, and Josh Heupel got him. That sets Tennessee up at wideout for the future because Brew McCoy and Ramel Keaton are both probably going to be gone after this year. Ramel Keaton, I think, is out of eligibility, and you've talked plenty of times how Brew McCoy is probably the best NFL draft prospect maybe on this roster. And so this is a huge deal for Mike Matthews to get here. It's a month after Braylon Staley committed, who's a slot receiver. So they've got their complementary parts now for Nico Iamaleava when he inevitably becomes the starter in 2024, unless Jake Merklinger beats him out. Tennessee, guys, is not yet at the level of Georgia and Alabama when it comes to recruiting, which we've talked about. But they are at receiver. Tennessee is the most desirable place in the country for if you're a wide receiver to go right now, and it's not close.
You're right. Go ahead and click that like button if you haven't to this point turned your notifications on. You know, there are other places like Ohio State and TCU that throw the ball around a lot. But you brought up a point several times, and I think you're exactly right. It seems as if you emerge as one of those top three receivers, you're going to catch a lot of balls. At Ohio State, they tend to spread it around a little bit more. At TCU, if we're talking about potent offenses, as compared to Josh Heupel's, that's not in the SEC. Big picture, recruiting-wise, they're at a loss a little bit when they battle Tennessee. You could argue close to equal just in terms of being a receiver, but I think most people would rather live in a city like, of course, there's going to be guys from Texas, and most people would rather play in the SEC across the board. So I can't come up with a place. Maybe I could argue Southern California. I'm grasping at straws here to try to play devil's advocate to your argument, but where else would you rather go if you're a receiver right now, one of the top ones like Mike Matthews coming out of high school?
Yeah, USC is a competitive one because USC has a similar system and you're in LA. So do you want to live in LA or do you want the college town experience? I mean, that really depends on the athlete at that point and the player and what they want. Are you saying that Knoxville's a better town than Dallas? I know a lot of our listeners think that, but
well, no, I'm not saying necessarily Knoxville's a better town, but I think the SEC is a big factor.
Yes, I agree. Playing in the SEC is a huge deal, and let's be honest, when you put those stats up against SEC competition, NFL scouts notice it more than when you put it up against Big 12 competition. No questions asked. I think the thing about Tennessee is, let's look at Jalen Hyatt last year. Production is going to get you into the NFL more than scouting. Ohio State receivers are all high NFL draft picks. We know Marvin Harrison Jr., but they're high draft picks because we see them play. We know what they can do. But sometimes we overlook production or lack thereof. Now, this is nothing on Harrison, by the way. This is Ryan Day's system. Tennessee, on the other hand, they're going to play. You're going to play yourself into a draft pick at Tennessee because of the production that Josh Heupel is going to get you if you can become a starter. And look, this is something important. You might be overvalued in the NFL draft, and every receiver would rather be overvalued. Hell, you're negotiating for anything valued than undervalued.
One of the arguments might be, well, they only I'm again trying to play devil's advocate. You only throw to three guys. Well, with the transfer portal, if you're not happy with the way things are going in Tennessee, you can go somewhere else. And no athlete wants to be told you can't play at school A because you're not good enough. So that's a really bad recruiting notion. And trying to play devil's advocate, I don't think there is one. I think when it comes to recruiting receivers, Tennessee is as good as they get right now as far as a young man coming out of high school. So where does this put Tennessee's class? They were 15th coming in according to the 247 composite scoring. I'd say that will climb up close to 12. Tennessee is in a position to have a top 10 class, certainly. Top 5 maybe within reach. And I'll be interested to see if some other dominoes fall. But when you look at the top part of the class, this is Tennessee's 5-star commitment that'll top the board when you take a look at their commits. But the 4 stars aren't anything to sneeze at whatsoever. You have Jake Merklinger, the quarterback, in case things don't work out with Nico, or maybe waits and stays. We'll see. Jonathan Eccles out of IMG Academy is the athlete, another 4-star. Caleb Beasley is 4-star out of Lipscomb in Nashville. You mentioned Staley, then Peyton Lewis, 4-star running back as well. William Satterfield, 4 stars. Satterwhite, excuse me, out of Ohio. And then you have Max Anderson, 4-star offensive lineman. Satterwhite, an offensive lineman too. Anderson out of. I don't care how you look at it, whether you cover Tennessee or not. If you're a national recruiting analyst or you're just taking a look at what's happened recently, this is called momentum. And momentum is absolutely monstrous in recruiting. It is a real thing. And I think it's huge for Tennessee to continue to capitalize on this. And I see no reason why they won't. One factor, and I'm not saying this is directly tied to anybody in particular, and I'm certainly not saying that it was tied to Matthews. However, the NCAA investigation's over. People can't use that against Tennessee anymore. So you see another surge for the Vols here in the coming months before the high school football season starts, which is just 3 or 4 weeks away.
Yeah, we were off by just a month when we were making our predictions for Heupel, maybe 2. When we said June would be the biggest recruiting month of Heupel's tenure at Tennessee, might turn out to be July. I mean, this might just be getting started with Matthews, and it might carry into maybe early August per se. I would assume it slows down in August when fall camp starts, but watch out for the next 2 weeks, guys. Really pay attention, because I think that's where you're going to see Tennessee really make a push. And they're making a statement now. Again, the Mike Matthews commitment shows that it's not just you settled for Tennessee if you're a top recruit. You want to play at Tennessee, and he wants to play at Tennessee over every other school, period, in the story. That's this type of commitment.
I'll put the over-under at 1.5 5-star players. Will Tennessee get 1.5 more 5-star commitments to go with Matthews? You take the over or the under?
Under. I think they'll get 1 more 5-star. I don't think they'll get 2.
I do too. I think they'll get 1. I did a great job of putting the 1.5 in there. That reminds me, download that Zen Sports app. Use the promo code HOOK for unlimited cash back on your gambling. So Tennessee picks up 5-star commitment Mike Matthews. The Vols are ranked 15th. That's going to go up to about 12. That's 17 commitments, and Tennessee cooking right along. For Caleb Calhoun, I'm Dave Hooker. Mike Matthews, a committed Vol, 5-star receiver off the Hook Sports.